My father's voice still echoes in my head, not because it hurt, but because of the precision with which he delivered the sentence that ended 24 years of loyalty. Get out, you lowlife. No hesitation, no crack in his voice, just finality. I didn't argue, I didn't plead. I just stood there in their pristine, over-decorated living room, my suitcase already packed, my hand on the handle. Mother's eyes were cold, arms folded like a judge already certain of the verdict. You'll never make anything of yourself. You're uneducated trash. They thought this would break me. They thought I'd crawl, beg, disappear. Instead, I smiled, small, controlled, enough to make them shift in discomfort without knowing why. Okay, fine. I walked out. Back then, there was a time I thought they loved me. Not in the soft, unconditional way most parents do, but in the conditional way I was used to. The kind where my worth was measured in grades, appearances, and obedience. My father ran a modest construction company. My mother was the kind of woman who treated dinner parties like war campaigns. They wanted a polished air, a perfect product to parade. But I wasn't polished. I wasn't perfect. I didn't finish college, not because I couldn't, but because I didn't want to follow their blueprint. I built my own, in silence. They never asked what I was doing with my time. They assumed failure. I let them. The break came fast. A petty argument about my lack of ambition spiraled into the eviction order. My father's hand cut through the air, his voice rising. My mother piled on, every insult rehearsed, sharpened. What they didn't know, that lack of ambition had built a chain of silent investments. 4 years of coding at night, day trading in the mornings, flipping undervalued real estate in the shadows. I was already worth $20 million. But they weren't owed that truth. Not yet. Florida. The next morning, I was barefoot on the balcony of my beach house in Naples, coffee in hand, watching the sun set fire to the horizon. They thought I was sleeping on someone's couch. I was closing on another property. They thought I was scrounging for work. I was finalizing a deal that would net 7 figures. I didn't block their number. I just stopped answering. 3 weeks later, I got the call from my sister. Dad's business is in trouble. They need a cash injection or they'll lose everything. I didn't react, not outwardly. Inside, a quiet click, the sound of a plan locking into place. Send them to me, I said. The meeting. They arrived at my beach house in clothes too expensive for their collapsing empire. My father scanned the property, trying to mask surprise. My mother stayed rigid, her smile strained. Nice place, she said, each word coded in disbelief. I invited them in, sat them at the long glass table that overlooked the ocean. Let them talk. They painted their disaster in broad strokes. A bad market, unreliable partners, sudden debts. Then came the pivot. We need help. Alone, just until we stabilize. I leaned back, folded my hands. And why would you come to me? I'm just uneducated trash, remember? My father's jaw clenched. My mother's eyes dropped to the table. Silence filled the space between us, heavy and deliberate. We were wrong, my father said finally. Wrong? That was the understatement of a lifetime. The plans reveal. I opened a folder and slid it toward them. Inside, the property deed for their home, the controlling stake in my father's company, the debt contracts I had quietly acquired over the past 2 weeks. Their eyes darted across the papers. Confusion, realization, horror. What is this? My father asked, voice sharp. It's the reason you came here. You're already mine. I'd bought the company's debts through a shell corporation, acquired their mortgage at a discount. Their empire was a collapsing tent, and I had removed the last pole. The fall. They tried to bargain, plead. My mother's voice cracked first. My father's pride held longer, but not by much. What do you want? He asked finally. I stood, walked to the window, let them sit in the weight of it. Nothing. I want you to remember the day you threw me out, the way you looked at me, the words you chose. And then, I want you to live with the fact that I didn't just survive, I owned the ground you're standing on. I signed the final page in front of them. The deal was complete. They no longer owned their home, their business, or their freedom to pretend they were untouchable. Resolution. They left without another word. I watched them walk down my driveway, smaller than I'd ever seen them. No shouting, no gloating, just the quiet satisfaction of justice served cold. Some people think revenge is about destruction. It's not. It's about control, precision, letting someone feel the walls close in, slowly enough that they understand exactly who built them.